Hello, friends. It's Colin, our CD mangaka, as you're probably used to referring to me as. I'm here today with a video I never thought I'd have to make on behalf of the Dragon Ball Fighters Colorado FGC community, as this is a very weird time. Most of you probably see by the title what I'm talking about here, and the purpose of this announcement is to clarify the reasoning behind this decision, as well as elaborating on this decision, what it is, what this means for the future, as well as why. And forgive me if I repeat myself. This is an impromptu, unscripted video. I just need to say things as it feels natural to say. The announcement, as you're all pretty much well aware of, is that for the future being, all local gatherings of Dragon Ball fighters in the Colorado community are canceled and postponed until further notice. This includes the Last Chance Qualifier that we were going to run at Akihabara at the end of March, as well as Teddy's Invitational that we were going to run in the middle of April of next month. This is all in response to the coronavirus outbreak that has been happening worldwide, and that is starting to affect our state and country more and more every day. To clarify a few things of why we are taking this outbreak so seriously, I feel like I need to address a few things about the situation to try and enlighten people here who may not have had access to the same information or may have not looked it up themselves. The coronavirus is more than just a flu, more than just a severe cold. It is a potentially life-threatening disease to the elderly, to the immunocompromised, and to those with particular lung issues. Along with that, it has been noted in Hong Kong, as we are starting to see outpatients and recovering individuals from this contagion, that about 20 to 30% of them have suffered from permanent lung damage. Now, I'm missing context on that particular statistic because I don't know if that's, were they already immunocompromised? What age groups were they? Were they vulnerable to a lung infection or lung complications beforehand through lifestyle habits? I simply don't know. The only information I have is that people who got sick from the coronavirus suffered from COVID-19, the disease itself. 20% of them have suffered permanent lung damage. So we don't know what the aftermaths of this disease are yet in full in terms of the long-term condition. Furthermore, those who are at risk, they are more around us than we think. One other group I forgot to mention was the obese, just because being obese naturally inhibits your immune system. So you can think of probably friends and family who fall into any of those four categories. They are at risk because this disease, this virus, spreads through the air. It is airborne. It is very easy to spread, and it is very quick to spread. I mean, we've seen what is going on in Italy. We are seeing other countries take to certain things. And in fact, we have seen in our own state that this morning, Denver has announced that it will be closing all of restaurants for in-dining until May 11th. The Anime Fest for Colorado has been canceled until further notice. Postponed probably is the better word for it, as well as sporting events and everything else. And the whole reason for this is to limit the spread of the virus. Right now, our hospital staffs are going to be assaulted by the incoming of patients from this pandemic, and they are not equipped to deal with all of us getting sick at once. So the whole reason we are canceling these events is for social distancing, which is the idea of slowing down the spread of the disease by isolating ourselves from each other so that we avoid transmitting this disease to each other as long as possible, so that we don't get sick at the same time, so that our hospitals are equipped enough to handle the influx of patients. In Italy right now, it's already gone too far. They've had so much sick people coming on in that they're invoking wartime measures where they look at an individual's life expectancy, and based on that, they decide whether or not that patient gets treatment. So they'll look at 70-year-old grandmother, for example, who, 70, life expectancy in Italy is, I'm not sure, but it can't be more than 2 decades from that point. And they'll look at a 30-year-old who's infected with it, and they'll say, we don't have the resources to treat both of you. This 70-year-old is going to be neglected and going to be left to her own measure and willpower. We're going to invest in taking care of the 30-year-old who is more likely to live. That's a terrifying reality. And that is something that we could be facing. And I know that, speaking through a friend of mine who works in the medical industry out here, that a lot of the hospitals are all undersupplied because a lot of the factories, or a lot of the hospitals, their factories are based in Wuhan, China, where this pandemic originally happened, and that part of the world has already been quarantined and shut down in light of this pandemic, and so there's a severe undersupplyment of these resources. That is why everything is taken so effectively. This is more than just a severe cold. This is a disease that has potential long-term effects on us, and that is a very real risk to our family members, loved ones, friends, and even clients that we come across through work that might be at one of these risk groups. That is the reality of the situation, along with the fact that the virus is airborne and has a 2-week incubation period, meaning that you may carry it for 2 weeks before you show any symptoms. Spreading it in the meanwhile means that it is potentially catastrophic. In fact, it already has been catastrophic. Not in terms of life count yet, but the numbers are going to go up. And cases for the United States reported up to March 15th, so as of yesterday, we've had a total of 3,487 cases and 68 deaths, and these numbers are only going to increase. Colorado just suffered its first death this morning. It was an elderly woman in El Paso. I think it was El Paso, or was it Pueblo? I forget the name of the city. I apologize for my lack of not being aware of the information right now. I could spend some time to look it up, but the where is not as important as the when, I suppose, for now. Although the where will be important too. And it's only inevitable that we're going to get a death in Colorado. It's only inevitable that we're going to get a death all around Colorado. That more deaths are going to happen. That more cases are going to happen. So we as a community need to be responsible and do our best to help the cause of slowing this disease down. That is why we're canceling all of our events. Even though our events are under the 50-person event ban that Governor Polis instated earlier this week, it is still important that we cut our ties for the time being to avoid any potential spreading of this. This is so heartbreaking and so wild to think about that in this year that we are going through this. And I will set aside talking about my distress politically with my federal government about the handling of this case. I think that this whole pandemic is showing a lot of the flaws in our system, and I hope that we can all see that improvements need to be made. But it just sucks. The fact that I have to take this time away to not see you guys, to not train with you in person, and to get better and grow, to look forward to going out and competing at events, it's breaking my heart, especially when these events are also canceling themselves. Final Round has closed. Anime Fest, as I mentioned, has closed. So that tournament that I wanted to go up together is closing out. This all sucks. This all sucks, and I can tell you right now, my friends, it is not going to get better for some time. Personally, I can tell you that my own employment is changing drastically. Denver announced this morning that restaurants are closed until May 11th, and that ban is probably going to extend to suburbs surrounding Denver. My restaurant is currently planning on closing, perhaps starting tomorrow, and we will not be open for in-house business again until May 11th. It's huge. We might look at to-go opportunities so people can at least have curbside pickup and deliveries. But for the foreseeable future, my income is not going to be the same, and I may have to look at other employment opportunities or trying to monetize my stream. That's the reality of it. So, and I'm not the only one suffering from this. So bear each other in mind as we go forward. I know there's not a lot of money to give around, but at least there's companionship and support and looking for opportunities. I highly encourage all of you that if you can, try to support Akihabara Arcade, as they're going to be losing a lot of business in this time. I mean, a lot. Thank you all so much for listening to this announcement and for being understanding. We are blessed to live in a modern age, though, where we do have internet and where we do have online playing capabilities. So all of our future events are going to be taking place online. I will have more details about that soon as I discuss with Matty Keys how he wants to handle splitting up the PC and PlayStation 4 online gatherings for the time being. But in the meantime, I am Colin Neimer of Ingenious Gaming. I will see you all in time.